Musical scales are the building blocks for a musical composition. There are countless musical scales all across the world. There is Indian music scale, Western music scale, Chinese scale, Japanese scale, Arabic scale, Hungarian scale, Persian scale, and so many more. Different musical scales form the basis for different musical cultures. When we hear music from different parts of the world, we are often able to recognize them. That is because music of each region is unique. And this uniqueness is because every musical culture is built on its own musical scales, which gives them their own musical identity. In this video, I'll explain what musical scales are. What are musical scales and how are they formed? A musical scale is basically an arrangement of musical notes in ascending or descending order of pitch. If the notes are in ascending order of pitch, it's called an ascending scale. For example, is an ascending scale. And if the notes are in descending order of pitch, it's called a descending scale. For example, is a descending scale. The ascending and descending scale may or may not be the same. But then there are countless musical scales all across the world, which raises a lot of questions. How are the scales formed? What is the span of the scale? How many notes are there in a scale? What is the distance between the notes of a scale? Let's take a closer look to understand more. Every musical sound has a clear pitch, where pitch is that property of sound which tells us how high or how low the sound is. But pitch is an auditory perception which cannot be measured or quantified. Sound is also an auditory perception caused by vibrating particles in a medium, and the number of vibrations per second is called the frequency. Now, this frequency is synonymous to the pitch. If the frequency is high, the pitch is also high. If the frequency is low, the pitch is also low. In effect, a musical scale is also ordered by the fundamental frequency of the notes. Now let's take a look at how far apart these notes are. By nature, musical notes sound coherent when they are at certain intervals from each other. And something magical happens when the interval between the two notes is such that the frequency of one note is double the frequency of the other. They sound almost the same. The two notes blend so much that sometimes it's even difficult to tell them apart. This interval between the two notes is called saptak in Indian music and octave in Western music. Generally, a musical scale spans an octave in most musical systems and keeps repeating across the octaves. The scale itself is made up of a certain number of notes placed at certain intervals from each other. Now, the number of notes and the interval between the notes varies across different cultures depending on what sounds musical to them. For example, the Indian music scale has 7 notes, sa re ga ma pa dha ni. The Western music scale also has 7 notes, but the intervals are slightly different. The Chinese scale has 5 notes. The Japanese scale also has 5 notes, but the intervals are different. There are countless possible combinations of notes and intervals, creating countless musical scales. Music created by each musical scale has its own unique flavor, and that is what makes music of different parts of the world so unique. Hope you now understand what musical scales are. In my upcoming videos, I'll talk more about the Indian music scale. If you have any further questions, feel free to write in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you for watching.